Before we jump into the scriptures, I want to play a little game called What Do You Try Next? And I'm going to use this remote control to help us with this game. This shouldn't be a difficult scenario for you to imagine, but put yourself on the couch with the remote control in your hand and you're trying to turn on the TV. But when you push the button, nothing happens. So what do you do next? Do you press it harder, as if a lack of enthusiasm is the problem with the remote? If you press it harder and that doesn't work, what do you try next? What is it? Smack it, okay. Thank you. You went there really quick. I would have had a few more steps before I started smacking it, but I like the commitment. Like I would say, you press it repeatedly or you change angles, try down low or over to the side. But if that doesn't work, what do you try next? You smack it, for sure. You hit it. There's something about hitting it. If you grew up in the Nintendo era, you might blow on it because that seemed to work back then. If that doesn't work, what do you try next? Batteries. You replace the batteries. So you go to the junk drawer, find some batteries floating around from the 80s that look promising. You put those in there. If that doesn't work, what do you try next? Well, you might go to another remote in the house and pull batteries out of that remote and put it in this remote, so you sacrifice one for the other, but it has to be done. If that doesn't work, what do you try next? Well, you might Google what to do. You might look for an owner's manual from that TV like 3 years earlier. You might try to figure out who used the remote last, so at least you have someone to blame, but you try all kinds of things, and eventually you reach this place where you're like, I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything I can try. And when you reach that place, typically by then you're feeling a little bit frustrated, a little bit irritable, exasperated, a little discouraged, because you've tried everything you can think to try and none of it's worked, and you don't really know what else to do that you haven't already done. And a lot of us end up living life with that kind of spirit. And we're not sure why. We just feel frustrated and irritated and discouraged and exasperated with things and the people around us. And I would argue it's because of a much broader sense that we've tried a lot of things that haven't worked and we're not sure what to try next. Because it's one thing if that happens with the remote control, but what do you do when you've tried every parenting book and you've tried all kinds of timeout techniques and reward charts, but you're still having these behavioral challenges with your child and you're really not sure what else to do. For a while, you had hope because there seemed like a long list of things you could try, but now you've tried it all, none of it's worked. What do you do when you've been to 3 different doctors and you've tried 6 different medications and you've changed your diet, the whole thing, and the diagnosis hasn't changed and you feel like things aren't getting better, in fact, they're getting worse? What do you do when you've tried date nights and marriage counseling and communication exercises, that you and your spouse, it just seems to be this growing distance? What do you do when you've kind of tried dating a lot of different people and you've put yourself out there, you even got on Farmers Only, and you are not a farmer and not really interested in farmers, but you've tried. What do you do when you've tried everything that you know to try and it feels like there's nothing left to do? What do you do when you've prayed the same prayer for years and you've asked God for some things and you've fasted and maybe you've even asked other people to pray for you and then the heavens still seem silent? The question that we're wrestling with is, what do you do when you've done everything you can do? You reach this place where you have exhausted your resources, your wisdom, you're out of strength and you're out of options. When you find yourself in that place, and all of us will, you find yourself up against this line where the space you've been living in is self-sufficiency, where you've thought to yourself, I'm in control and I can fix this and I can try this and it'll change that. And you've worked out these different equations in your mind of what you can do. And now you've gone through all of it and you're up against this line, and on the other side of self-sufficiency is surrender.